Hi and welcome. My name is Eleanor and I'm going to quickly go through the 6 books that I bought on a whim from my local bookstore, Poetry Books. 2 British, 4 American, and I'm planning to read them one at a time for the next 6 videos. So without further ado, introducing, well, these are all new poets to me. Carol Ann Duffy, Sincerity, a nice glittery book. She is British, Scottish. She's in her late 60s. She has been the British Poet Laureate for 10 years up until 2019. This came out in 2018, so it's the last collection she came out with as the Poet Laureate. She's the first woman, the first Scottish poet, and the first openly lesbian poet who was chosen as the British Poet Laureate. Second book, also British, just came out this year, Lurex by Denise Riley. I chose it because of the title of the book and the cover. I mean, how can you resist Lurex? It's just fantastic. She's in her 70s. She is known as a feminist, has philosophy and politics in her work, is known as a difficult poet. I thought, why not, while I'm challenging myself, why not go all the way? Third book, now we're into the Americans, is Nicole Seeley, Ordinary Beast. I had heard of her. This is her second book. I believe it came out in 2017. I should say, by Contemporary Poetry Books. I'm looking at books that were published in the last 5 years, that were newly published in the last 5 years. I have heard of Nicole Seeley, and I know that she was born in the US Virgin Islands and grew up in Florida. She discusses race relations in many of her poems. Well, not discusses, really presents them. But again, it's really the cover that got me. I mean, this cover with that porcelain figure with the black arms, I'm intrigued and I'm going to look up who the artist is. Fantastic. Fourth book is thanks to my subscriber Faye. Thank you so much, Faye. You're amazing. I saw it on the bookshelf and I felt like I'd already read it because it was in my mind from your comment. 1919 by Eve L. Ewing, came out in 2019. It's non-fiction poetry, which I'm new to, and it is all about the 1919 Chicago race riot, which will be, I believe, harrowing, but also necessary and important, and a great introduction, I think, for me to non-fiction poetry. Eve Ewing, I quickly looked her up. She's amazing. She's also a visual artist. She's a sociologist, and she's even written for Marvel Comics. So can't wait. Fifth is a book by Jorie that came out, I think, 2017, a Pulitzer Prize winner. This is not her most recent book, I think the second most recent book. I have heard her name, never read her poems, and when I opened it in the bookshop, I realized that her lines are so long. And I mean, apart from maybe Walt Whitman, or there's an American contemporary writer called Rachel Zucker who has some long lines, but this is taking it to the extreme, which I love. So that's a definite. Definitely looking forward to it. And last but not least, I found this little one, Pagan Virtues by Stephen Dunn. This came out in 2020. Unfortunately, he passed away. He's an older poet. He passed away in 2021. So this is his the last book he published while alive. I didn't choose it because of that. I didn't choose it because it says it's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I chose it because when I opened it in the bookstore, I saw that it has a series of what he calls his Mrs. Cavendish poems. And Mrs. Cavendish and the Dancer, Mrs. Cavendish's Dream, Mrs. Cavendish Comes to Terms. And when I quickly looked it up, I saw that Mrs. Cavendish is a name he uses for a woman who he apparently loved throughout his life, an unrequited love affair. She married someone else. There's nothing I love more than an unrequited love affair. Not in my own life. That is rather painful. But certainly in my novels, in songs I listen to, and most importantly, I love unrequited love affairs in poetry. I think that's what poems are really made for. So those are my 6 books. I hope you'll come on this adventure with me. I am somewhat fearful that I will make a fool of myself. Poetry books are very different to discuss as compared to prose, fiction, or nonfiction. But I wanted to challenge myself. So don't forget, the only property is the property of the mind, and I'll see you for the next video when I'll be discussing Carol Ann Duffy's sparkly Sincerity. Thank you very much. I'll see you then. Bye.